Welcome everyone. Now we are going to study about the fusion. So what is fusion? Well, I would like it is merging of two. So what I am here mean with the merging of the two? Well, you can see my W, which is itself is merging with U. No, the letter U, not U. Okay, so what is there? A and B. Let's again say we have two elements and then together it forms element X. This is known as fusion. So all just about the direction in learning purpose that when we go from A plus B to X, that is fusion. And when we chose here X to ABC or just AB, it is fission. So it is having similarity, but fusion is called as hydrogen reactor or hydrogen bomb also. So hydrogen reactor, it is having potentially the most powerful effect that we have not created till now. Well, that's good one that we have not learned to use this fully, and I wish and I hope it never been done. And why? You will know that if you study a little bit about that how powerful and dangerous it actually is. But anyways, we have studied about the fusion, that what the term fusion actually means. Now what about the star I was talking about? The star is like in our sun, the fusion and fission is always going on. So this is very interesting. Fusion is actually going on. So helium is getting break down into the hydrogen ones, and two hydrogen again becomes helium. So in this way our star works. Well, this is not the just two states that it's always going to happen. If I may allow myself to call it star instead of limiting myself to the sun, we know that the potential of being black holes for the stars, we need very high density, and I'm not going to mention any number here, but you can see that easily. So the core of star is actually having helium. So here we have helium, which is very heavy. So that is creating the most of the gravitation force. And what is outside? Outside is hydrogen that comes out. So technically what we experience as photons are coming out because of the fission and not the fusion. Well, that's the interesting one, right? And the final thing here that I'm going to tell you is the final stage of a star that can be formed and that I have learned is iron state. When in the core iron forms. So I just said helium forms. So how the iron forms? So iron forms throughout the process. Like first it was hydrogen, then it got promoted to helium, then it will promoted to lithium, then beryllium, and then so on to aluminium, and finally to the point where it reaches to iron. And where there is no fuel outside and center becomes very heavy, it collapses in its own self, and when it collapses in its own self, this is known as black hole, which is having so much of the density that it push out, not pull out, it pull out everything. Imagine something very dense and then all the mass pull out. What happens? Well, this is not the perfect example to tell you like in the circle form. Understand it like this, like you are standing on a rubber sheet and there is you. So when you jump out in some way, instantaneously there is so much of the gravity that you have left here. So due to very high gravity and insane or infinite. I'm using the word infinite consciously. It is not the meaning of the real infinity, like so many and it never ends. We can count it, but the number is so big, so I kept it infinity. So the density is so high. Then density is so high and gravity is so high. Gravity is just a curve of the space if you have studied the special relativity. If not, doesn't bother about that much. So when this goes out, the space do not goes out. It is collapsed by its own self, and we have a singularity here. And that is the point how a black hole forms. And after black hole forms, it sink in everything, everything, potentially everything, like it is in a common perception, like a bean size of black hole can suck in our entire earth. Well, it now being so big, right? So why our earth is safe? Well, I don't want to say that it will not be safe in any amount of the year. I do not want to see the earth dying. So this is the potential of the black hole. So let me tell you something a little more about it as we are covering this topic in detail. As we have collapsing space in its own self because of the high density and high gravity, and at the center we have our singularity, and the point where it all orbit, or the last layer where it can affect the most, is known as horizon. There are so many layers. I'm just telling you very basic one here. Okay, so how it just pull in everything and still do not get fulfilled? Well, a black hole that formed out of a star of this size can now sink these star, maybe all of them, and still not get fulfilled. Well, that's interesting. How it is possible that something cannot fulfilled by these big stars? Well, let me try to explain that. We have seen in the positron case, the charge falls in and the empty electron gone out. So in the similar way, if you add space, if you add space and not the mass or its property or everything, because that radiates, and that's how we know the black hole actually exists, because it radiates. And Hawking radiation is one of the famous thing that you can study about. We're not going to go in that one, but it radiate the particle energy, alpha, beta, gamma, and all that such things. So it radiate, in short. What left is the mass. So you are adding the empty boxes one after another. Imagine that you have this box, and now you keep this box and this box, and now you keep this box, and now you keep this box and this box and this box, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one. So what we are actually doing here, we are adding space. So black hole goes bigger and bigger, denser and denser, by having nothing actually inside of it. I hope you have enjoyed the story of black hole from the fusion, and I also told you all these things because in the fusion and fusion one it was not that much exciting, as I have not excited you. That was purposefully so that you do not you study fusion and fission, but never try to make that such potential bomb like things and get curious about those things. You may always study as a technology, as a science, that's an open subject, but never try to make humankind in danger. So that's why I focus on the black hole thing. I hope you have enjoyed this session, and we are done with the nuclei, and it's time to say goodbye to this session. So take care. God bless everyone. We will see in the next playlist.